Hey, what's up, everybody? Well, today's video is gonna be about some stuff from Cheyenne tattoo equipment. Um, I've been using these craft cartridges for a little bit of time now, and I'd like to talk to you about them. Um, for those that have never heard of Cheyenne, which I'm sure all of you have by now, Cheyenne is probably one of the leading companies in the tattoo industry making rotary machines. They really, I'm sorry, I have to fix my camera a little bit. Went a little bit sideways there for a second. Anyway, when I started tattooing about, well, it was in 1996 actually. All that we really had were coil machines, and I guess about 8-9 years ago, actually it was 9 years ago, the first type of rotary style machine that I picked up was the Pneumas. They were pneumatic machines that ran off of air compressors. And then I remember, like a year after trying to use those, they really weren't the greatest. They were good for certain things, but I really found that I had to go back into a lot of tattoos to resaturate and stuff like that. So that was really annoying. And I remember when the first Cheyenne Hawk machine came out. Pretty much now they have the Legend, the 10th anniversary edition of that machine. But that machine was really the first machine in the industry that used cartridges. And Cheyenne was really the first in the industry that put cartridges onto the market. They did have some issues, but they got better with time. And I've been using cartridges for about 8 years now, and I have used a lot of cartridges. I can tell you that much. So, these puppies right here, I can say that these are some really fucking amazing cartridges. I like the design of them. I like the way they work when you're tattooing with them. The amount of ink that they hold is really nice. And they're just an all-around really good cartridge needle. I'd probably say from all the cartridges that I have used and all the cartridges that I have talked about in my videos, the Cheyenne Craft cartridges are probably the #1 cartridge right now that I've been using. So they come in a box like this. You get 10. They're a bit cheaper than Cheyenne's original cartridges. And they are made in India. India. I'm sorry. It's a bit early in the East Coast. Yeah, they are. The needles are made in India, and then I guess they are shipped over to Germany, and they're sterilized in Germany and stuff like that, and then they're distributed worldwide. One thing that I like about these is the way that the tips are on the liners. It's very, very precise, very, very well made. It's cut really precisely. Like, I really like these. The other thing that I like is the way that the body of the cartridge is, that squared off feeling. Now, we'll talk about these grips for the Cheyenne pen in a minute, and I'm going to talk a bit about the Cheyenne pen as well. So, as far as the cartridges themselves, the craft cartridges, when you hold your machine, and, well, let's, for a better example, because this grip is a bit large, let's use one of the other Cheyenne grips. This is the Ergo Round, and that was the Ergo Long. When you're using a grip like this, or even if you're not using, you know, these disposable Cheyenne grips, which I'll be talking about in a minute, when you're tattooing, this right here, this flattened out sides that these cartridges have, that's just, it works really, really well. When you're holding your machine, if you're trying to pull power lines or whatever, it just really, really makes a big difference, I find, when I'm tattooing. It's very comfortable in the hand, the cartridge itself, especially for your fingers to rest on the cartridge. Like I said, they're very well made. These do have membranes, like all of Cheyenne's cartridges do, as you can see. They are membrane. Let me put that back in. So the mags, the body is the same, as you can see. Well, what I like about the mags is this little cutout here, as you can see. It's a little bit risen. It has a space, an area there for a good amount of ink, and that's really important when tattooing. I like the way that these hold ink very well. I'm very, very impressed with the craft cartridges. I really, really like them, and I really, really recommend them. They are a bit more expensive, but overall the quality and the needle quality I really like as well. Very, very well made needles. It's a great cartridge. You definitely have to give it a try. So, another thing that Cheyenne has made, and they really are one of the only companies that have made this for the Hawk pen, are the D grips, and they come in 3 different styles. You have them right there. You got the Ergo Round, the Ergo 1-inch, and the Ergo Long. Here I have the Ergo Round and the Ergo Long. Now, these things are just great when tattooing, especially if you use a Cheyenne pen. They just save a lot of time, you know, especially between autoclaving and stuff like that. And when you bag your machine, just slide the grip right over. Of course, with the pen, you bag it up to that O-ring there, and then you put the O-ring over your clipcord sleeve. and you just slide the grip right over, and the grip works great. It's excuse me. It's really an innovation for an industry where disposable grips are really needed, and I really haven't seen a lot of other companies on the market make a disposable grip for their machines, like Stigma and a bunch of other companies. Um, so if you guys work with a Cheyenne pen, you definitely should pick these up. I mean, they're a little bit pricey too for six. They're anywhere between $13.99 to $15. But if you do larger scale work, you could just factor that into the price of the tattoo. I mean, that's at least what I do. Stuff like that. So, besides these, there's probably 100 Cheyenne pen reviews out there on YouTube. But I want to talk a little bit about the Cheyenne pen here. It's really an innovative machine that Cheyenne designed, and through my time working with it, I have run into some issues, but I have found that those issues come up if you're using cartridges that don't have membranes. How these pens are designed and made is that there's a motor in this area, and it uses a swash plate to push the bar mechanism that uses a push rod, and inside of there, well, like I was saying, there's a spring in there, and that spring can get a little bit rusty, and you can get gunk buildup on it. If you're using cartridges that don't have membranes and you get leakage inside of the machine, that spring will stiffen and it'll cause the motor to want to run a lot harder than it should need to, and that puts a lot of stress on the motor, and the motor eventually burns out. A lot of people have complained that Cheyenne's customer service and repair department is not very good, but they are working on making it better. They, hopefully will get some service centers out in other countries, hopefully in the United States and other areas where it needs to be. But other than that, the pen is really a great machine, and a lot of other companies have copied it out there. So, I can say that I enjoy using it. It's a really awesome machine. It's really well balanced, and it works amazing. At least for me, and for... Alright, so might be a couple of parts in the video that were cut. Sorry about that if anybody does experience that. Anyway, I was talking about the Cheyenne pen and the issues that people have been bringing up with their machines, stopping to work and stuff like that, and Cheyenne's customer service and repair center taking months to fix a machine. Cheyenne's working on it. They are, they're trying to get their repair center and repair service up to speed and, get stuff out. Like I was saying, inside of the machine you have a DC motor. Now, yeah, you're paying a lot for a pen. But you also need to realize that these DC motors, they don't last forever. If you do use cartridges that have membranes, and I recommend, if you're working with Cheyenne equipment, use Cheyenne cartridges. You know, spend the money on the cartridge if you spent the money on the machine. Charge more for your work. That's all. Do not use cartridges that don't have membranes. Don't use it in any type of machine that is a closed system machine, like the Cheyenne pen. So I haven't had any issues with my pen. I wrap my machines correctly. I'm careful when I'm cleaning out my cartridge needles, making sure that I don't get, a shitload of ink spill that could, or water spill that could get inside of there and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not dunking, the entire grip into my rinse cup and stuff like that. If you are, then maybe you should not be tattooing and go back to apprenticing and stuff like that, because that's not a very clean way to tattoo. Other than that, this is probably my favorite machine I've ever used. I mean, it just works. It doesn't need give or stroke adjustment or anything. It just does everything perfect. Shading, black and gray, color, saturation, layering, lines. I find no issues. I mean, it's real smooth. And I just love the way that it works. Here it's running at 6 volts. Let me put one of these cartridges in here for you guys. And these are the craft cartridges. And these cartridges are just awesome. They just work really well. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me try to zoom in on that. I don't know if you guys can see, but these craft cartridges, they're absolutely my favorite cartridges right now. They just work really, really well. The needles themselves, like I said, are made very well, and there's no side-to-side wobble, and I really enjoy the way that they're designed as far as ergonomic feeling while you're tattooing. It's really, really awesome. And they hold ink really, really well, so I gotta give a lot of props to Cheyenne for that. Cheyenne has some new stuff coming out on the market. It's called the Cheyenne Soul Nova, and there are 2 versions of it right now. Unfortunately, I can't really talk much about it, but it's a really, really nice pen style machine, so be on the lookout for that. It's gonna surprise you guys, so yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and if you like my videos and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. Have a good day, everybody.